I mean, this was some heavy-duty stuff.
Seen it once, don't remember when. Think it's time to watch it again. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date. Episodes drop the last Friday. It's a Matt, forgot that. It's a Matt, forgot that. It's a Matt, forgot that podcast.
Welcome to the Matt Forgot That podcast, the place to recollect and reminisce. I'm your host, Matt Seroski, filmmaker, film fan. Each episode, I'm going to rewatch and review a movie or TV pilot that I've seen before but don't quite remember. It could be a blockbuster, critic's choice, or cult classic. To join in on the conversation, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've reviewed, or want to share your own trip down memory lane, use the hashtag MattForgotThat on social. Before we start, ensemble casts feature a variety of characters, allowing for a range of storylines and interactions, contributing to their success and popularity. Some of the best ensemble casts in television history are celebrated for their chemistry, depth of character development, and ability to engage viewers across multiple storylines. Since the series I'm reviewing this time around is an ensemble, I thought it'd be fun to look at some of the best ensemble casts. Now, the first one that comes to mind, which shouldn't be a surprise to me, is Seinfeld. What I like about that cast is that all four characters are different from each other, distinctly different from each other. And yet somehow they had very similar personalities that made it believable that they were actually friends. Speaking of, you do have Friends, which really is a misnomer as a title, because from the very first season, Ross and Rachel were more than just friends. And then later on in the series, obviously, Monica and Chandler hooked up. Now, if I did just spoil that for someone, get over it. It's been off the air for 20 years. Even though I didn't really watch it, The Office had a very strong ensemble cast. MASH, obviously, was a huge show in the 70s and early 80s. And that series basically handed it off to Cheers, which I have to say I've been rewatching. You know, a lot of the times, some of the jokes are very dated, and you'll come across that here and there. But for the most part, funny is funny. That's a show that still holds up. So I would recommend everyone going back and rewatching Cheers. On the drama side, I think The Wire has always been voted one of the best series ever, and certainly deserving. Game of Thrones, despite how it ended, was certainly an ensemble cast, and I have to tell you, I watched all the seasons, and I still, for the life of me, cannot name you 5 characters in that series. I know how they're all related to each other, but there are just too many syllables in all of their names. Lost is another one that I think had a great cast, and I like how they took each episode and focused on one character, as well as the overarching story. And I would say West Wing is another good one. I reviewed that a couple of seasons ago on the Matt Watch That podcast, and was really enjoying it. I mean, there are a lot of others to choose from. I mean, Mad Men, Grey's Anatomy, Orange is the New Black, ER. So what are some of your favorite ensemble casts in television? Hit me up on social media using the hashtag MattForgotThat. On to the main attraction. Each review will end with a ranking out of 5 stars. 1 star is skip it, 2 stars watch at your own risk, 3 stars standard fare, 4 stars worth checking out, and 5 stars must see. Now, if I give a title 5 stars, it doesn't mean I'm comparing it to Casablanca, Jaws, or Seinfeld. I rank titles based on other movies or TV series in that genre and at that time period. On this episode of the podcast, I'm rewatching and reviewing The Facts of Life from 1979. It was directed by Nick Havinga, who helmed episodes of comedy spin-off Archie Bunker's Place, adventure Remington Steele, soap opera Knots Landing, and family sitcom Alf. It was co-created by Dick Clare, producer and writer for It's a Living and Mama's Family, and Jenna McMahon, Emmy Award-winning writer for The Carol Burnett Show. The teleplay was written by Brad Ryder, based on a story co-written by him and Glenn Padnick. It stars Charlotte Rae as Edna Garrett. Her first significant role was on the soap opera From These Roots, followed by a supporting part on Car 54, Where Are You? She was nominated for an Emmy Award for the musical television movie Queen of the Stardust Ballroom, and appeared as Molly, the mail lady, in early episodes of Sesame Street. Her career took a major turn when she was cast as Edna Garrett on Different Strokes. The show, centered on two young African-American boys being raised by a wealthy white widower, was a breakout hit, and her character resonated with audiences due to her warmth, comedic timing, and nurturing presence. Mrs. Garrett was so beloved that she was given her own spin-off, The Facts of Life. At the end of the 7th season, she decided to leave the series to pursue opportunities in the theater. She appeared in guest roles on popular shows The King of Queens, ER, and Pretty Little Liars, and her final on-screen role was in Ricky and the Flash with Meryl Streep. Charlotte Rae's career was a journey defined by both personal and professional milestones. From Broadway to television stardom, she left an indelible mark on the entertainment industry. So let's jump into it. This is what I remember. The theme song, you take the good, you take the bad, blah 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 blah. It was co-written by Al Burton, Gloria Loring, and Alan Thicke of Growing Pains fame. The cast, who wouldn't remember Blair, Natalie, Tootie, and Joe, though she wouldn't appear until the 2nd season. And last, that it was a spin-off of Different Strokes, though I could have sworn the character of Edna Garrett lasted for more than one season on that series. Now I'm heading off to watch the episode. This is what I forgot. The episode begins in the Eastland School, an all-girls boarding school under the tutelage of headmaster Stephen Bradley, teacher Emily Mahoney, and housemother Mrs. Edna Garrett. We're introduced to the students, including Natalie Green, Tootie Ramsey, Nancy Olson, Sue Ann Weaver, and Molly Parker. But the focus of the episode is on Blair Warner, a privileged and somewhat self-centered student who is used to a life of luxury. She's looking to be crowned Harvest Queen, a title she's won for the past 2 years. But she has some unlikely competition from Cindy Webster, an athletic girl who doesn't have the same confidence or sense of self. Blair suggests that due to Cindy's tomboyish appearance and affection for hugging other girls, that she might be a lesbian, in no uncertain terms. This is the central theme of the episode. Here's a quote without context. You know, even Blair would like baseball, if Gucci came out with a catcher's mitt. The Facts of Life pilot could have been an episode of Different Strokes. It featured guest appearances by Conrad Bain, Gary Coleman, Todd Bridges, and Dana Plato, and their scenes probably brought the biggest laughs. But to its credit, the series was ahead of its time, using their first episode to address issues of self-identity. It did feel like one step forward, 2 steps back, though, as it did make jokes about Natalie's weight, Arnold's height, and Molly's flat chest. Despite this, the series does handle the main issue with compassion and realistically portrays the challenges that young women are faced with in society. Edna Garrett is a comforting figure to the girls, and the linchpin of the series for the time that she's around. After the first season, the cast is reduced, focusing on Blair, Tootie, and Natalie, along with the addition of Joe Polnicek. In later seasons, Pamela Siegel, Mackenzie Aston, and George Clooney joined the cast. Cloris Leachman would be introduced as Mrs. Garrett's sister, Beverly Ann Stickle, who takes over as housemother. Now for a little trivial trivia. The episode The Girls' School, in the first season of Different Strokes, served as a backdoor pilot, but Edna Garrett initially declines becoming the housemother of the school. The Facts of Life was produced by TAT Communications Company and aired on NBC. It was filmed at Metro Media Square Studio in Los Angeles, California. Due to the multi-camera setup, there is no credited cinematographer, and outside of the theme song, no composer. It was edited by Bill Petty, who worked on episodes of comedies Different Strokes, Benson, Silver Spoons, and Designing Women. The runtime is 22 minutes. It was on for 9 seasons, 201 episodes. In 2001, there was a made-for-television film based on the series, which reunited Charlotte Rae, Lisa Whelchel, Mindy Cohn, and Kim Fields. On the Ski Index, I give it 3 out of 5 stars. If you've seen The Facts of Life and have opinions on the series, let me know what you think using the hashtag #MattForgotThat. Moving right along, each episode, I'm going to post throwback clips that I think people should watch. It could be movie trailers, music videos, interviews, or something completely random. Search for my YouTube page and there'll be a playlist called Matt Forgot That Playback. I've said this before, I don't consider myself a gamer, but I did grow up with video games. When my mom was part of a bowling league, I would come along not only because I liked watching bowling, but also because they had a really awesome arcade. And I was all over WrestleFest, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, and The Simpsons. But also game consoles at home were becoming more popular. For my family, the first one that comes to mind is Atari. I remember playing Pitfall and Yar's Revenge till my hands hurt. Then within my home we got Intellivision, which apparently was the more advanced video game system. But things really started to advance with computers. The Apple IIe, which was introduced in 1983, was one of the most popular personal computers of the 1980s. It featured all the bells and whistles, improved design over the predecessors, a more compact case, a built-in keyboard, supported up to 128 kilobytes of RAM. I mean, this was some heavy-duty stuff. But the best part about it was playing the games. They came on these floppy disks. You could shake it like a Polaroid picture, but you'd put it into the computer, and bam, you'd have your game. And everyone in my generation, I would venture to guess, played Oregon Trail, which taught players about the challenges of 19th century pioneers traveling westward across the United States. I can't tell you how many times I died of dysentery, and to this day, I have no idea what dysentery is, but I am deathly afraid of it. Similarly, right after Oregon Trail, I think everyone played Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. That was such a fun game. You were a detective who was assigned a case, and you would have to find out who committed the crime, get a warrant, and arrest them. But it was a very clever way to teach kids about geography and other countries without making them think they're actually learning something, which is always beneficial. Now, as a big game show fan, if it was on television, they made a game out of it. I loved Super Password, Double Dare, $10,000 Pyramid, Jeopardy, Classic Concentration. We had them all. But if I had to choose my favorite games, it was probably the Summer and Winter Olympic Games. Me and my brothers would constantly have competitions. You could make up a name, select your country, and to show you how old we are, there was still West Germany and USSR. But you could compete in skeet shooting, swimming, diving, gymnastics. And in the winter, you can compete in hot dogs, speed skating, figure skating, bobsled, ski jump. It was amazing. Hours of fun. So these clips are all available in the Matt Forgot That Playback playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Now it's time for the recommendation. Yes, that's the word recommendation with Matt in the middle. I'm going to end each podcast with my own recommendation of a movie or TV series. Today I'm talking about The Woman in Red. It tells the story of Theodore Pierce, a middle-aged, mild-mannered advertising executive who is happily married but finds his life turned upside down when he meets Charlotte, an alluring woman dressed in red. Theodore's obsession with the beautiful and statuesque model leads to a series of comedic and often embarrassing situations, as he becomes increasingly consumed by his desire to pursue her. Meanwhile, he tries to juggle his guilt over his wife Dee Dee and his growing attraction to Charlotte. Theodore's encouraged by his friends to ask her on a date, but mistakenly calls Miss Milner, a mild-mannered ad agency employee. The film is a blend of comedy and romance, as Theodore's quest for romance and excitement ultimately forces him to confront his own insecurities, temptations, and his relationship with his wife. The movie explores themes of midlife crisis, infidelity, and the complexities of love and desire, all with a humorous and lighthearted tone. Despite its comedic setup, The Woman in Red also touches on the vulnerability of aging and the pursuit of passions later in life. It stars Gene Wilder, Kelly LeBrock, Charles Grodin, and Gilda Radner. It was written and directed by Gene Wilder, based on the French romantic comedy Pardon mon affaire. Someone French check me on that. While the film hasn't endured as much over the years, the soundtrack by Stevie Wonder fared much better. It was certified platinum behind the singles Love Light and Flight and I Just Called to Say I Love You, which reached number 1 in 28 countries, including the US on the Billboard Hot 100, Adult Contemporary, R&B hip-hop songs, and Cashbox Top 100 charts. It became the second best single of 1984, behind the charity single Do They Know It's Christmas by Band Aid. It won a Golden Globe and Academy Award for Best Original Song. I never realized that came from this soundtrack, and deserves all its praise. But the movie does have some good qualities to it, and it was right within that period where Kelly LeBrock was the it girl. Sure, some of the jokes are a little dated, but what comedy isn't? Ultimately, I think it's a good time overall, and worth the watch. That's all for this edition of Matt Forgot That. Thanks for listening to me reminisce. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've reviewed, or want to share your own trip down memory lane, use the hashtag MattForgotThat on social. Head over to mattseroski.com for all the latest news and updates, and come back next time for the rewatch and review. Under the tutelage of Headmaster Stephen Bradley, teacher Emmy including the US on the Billboard Hot 100, Adult Contemporary, R&B hip-hop songs, and Cashbox Top 100 something. An athletic girl who doesn't have the same confidence or self-sense. Let's try that again. Under the tutelage of Headmaster Stephen Bradley, teacher Emily Mahoney, and house mother